That's the hour now. You know, over the years, I would imagine a lot of people have raced for this railing doing the quick two-step with a case of what the French would call le mal de mer, or seasickness. Some people get it, some don't. Our correspondent Mike Leonard has been exploring the reasons, and he says they are perfectly understood.
In a sense, out here, nothing has changed. The waves pitch and roll just as they have for billions of years. On the other hand, think of how far mankind has come since the beginning of time. Would our prehistoric forefathers even recognize us today? No, I imagine early man would feel a bit uneasy in surroundings like these. That's to be expected, though. Something is out of kilter, a little off balance. Anybody care to know why?
Actually, what it is a conflict that comes into your brain between what your eyes are telling you is going on and what your ears are telling you is going on.
Your inner ear, that is. The human gyroscope that keeps us on an even keel when we're on an even keel. Out here, that's a challenge. An old challenge for a species still struggling to find its sea legs.
It's going to take some hundreds of thousands of years for us to evolve to that point, and neither of us is going to see that, I'm afraid. It's a long time.
But this is a long ship.
It rocks probably the least amount of any cruise ship around. That's why we really don't see that much motion sickness on this ship.
Yet there are those days when the water does get choppy. Then...
No, it's definitely not fun.
Sort of like the last time you rode on that whirling merry-go-round in zero gravity on the way to the amusement park so you could take a twirl on that hot new roller coaster. Now, some people react in different ways, from...
I felt great.
To...
miserable.
But why people vomit?
That... is a mystery.
It seems totally inappropriate. It serves no useful function. It's totally illogical from all you know of the function of the body. And yet people get sick and they vomit.
What? Did you think I was sick? Oh, no, I just wanted to give you a quick look at the inside of the ship. You see, if you are feeling rocky, this is not the place to be. Go up on the deck and fix your eyes on the horizon. The eyes, researchers have learned, are able to override the signals of instability sent to the brain by the inner ear. As for why, well, that's just another one of the mysteries of motion sickness.
We certainly have a long way to go in physiological studies of this phenomenon, yes.
But look at this guy. He couldn't care less.
Actually, I think children do a little bit better than adults.
Come to think of it, remember the merry-go-round? Why do children always want to go
faster
when their parents can't seem to get off fast enough? How'd you feel?
Horrible. I'm sick.
I wonder why.
Age.
Is it because we can grow into motion sickness, but never out of it?
Admiral Lord Nelson got seasick every time he went to sea throughout his entire life. He was sick as a dog for 3 days every time when he went out from port.
Not as sick as I am, though, of those people who flaunt their ability to go with the flow. Doctor, isn't there something we can do about them?
You know, given enough stimulation, everybody can get seasick pretty well.
It's worth a try. Hold on. Okay, stop. It worked. Thank goodness.
We made it!
Brian, I hated to do it, but it was either that or shoot him with a tranquilizer dart.
What is this?
This is a patch you put behind your ear. It releases a chemical and sort of fixes your equilibrium, but it does have some side effects. Some people get blurred vision and all the rest.
It didn't work for you?
Didn't work with me,
Do you have any problem with seasickness on board this thing?
No, not at all.
I didn't have any problem with it either. Jane did confess to a little bit of wooziness yesterday, but so far so good. I mean, this thing's so huge, I don't think the sea's
I was on a Navy vessel a couple of weeks ago, and I felt a little bit funny on that. It was smaller, but on this, not a problem.
Terrific work for a green guy. Thanks, Mike. We'll see you a little bit later in the week, right?
Sure.
Wednesday and Thursday?
Wednesday and Thursday.
Okay. Up next on After 8, Jane's going to get into the problem of beach development and the problems of erosion that sometimes result. We're pressing ahead through this special edition of Today. We're back in a moment after a break. This is Today on NBC. 7:30 on a Monday morning, and we are lying at anchor about 3 miles outside of the port of Wilmington, North Carolina, a major port for almost 300 years. Now, the reason we're out here instead of in there is because the SS Norway draws about 35 feet of water. We'll have more on that just a little bit later. We're astern on the pool deck aboard the SS Norway, starting off what is a very special week of broadcasts from sea. We're calling Wilmington, North Carolina, our home port today. All passengers on the SS Norway are required to participate in a lifeboat drill before the ship ever leaves port. Life jackets are taken and everyone goes to their assigned station. The crew does the same every 2 weeks. The cruise drill is more dramatic than the passengers, with simulated fire, smoke, and a real-life lowering of lifeboats to the water. With 24 boats, the Norway has more than enough to carry every single passenger and crew member, a requirement one would think was standard, but wasn't until after the Titanic disaster in 1912. At that time, no one worried about the number of boats on a ship called unsinkable. The Titanic didn't even have a set policy for loading lifeboats, so when they hit the icy waters of the Atlantic, some were overturned, and most all of them were only half full. Lawrence Beasley was one passenger who managed to jump for a lifeboat just as it was being lowered. He lived to write an account of the disaster, one that included a plea for reforms in ship safety, which have since been implemented. Time now for a check of the weather. Let's go to Willard Scott. Good morning, and welcome aboard the SS Norway, our home away from home as we steam along the southeastern coast of our country. On this special edition of today, the sea is calm, the breeze is warm, and we're dropping anchor in our second port of call, Charleston, South Carolina. Since last we spoke to you, we've sailed 165 miles to dock here at one of this nation's oldest and most historic ports. Much has changed about this quintessential southern city, but Charleston's soul still reflects the culture of a rich and storied past today, Tuesday, May the 20th, 1986.
From NBC News, this is Today, live from Charleston, South Carolina, with Bryant Gumbel and Jane Pauley.
Good morning, and welcome to Today on this Tuesday morning, continuing through a week-long special editions of Today as we travel up and down the southeastern coast of the United States. Today we're in Charleston, South Carolina. That's Charleston sprawled along our port side there. We'll be exploring it a little bit later. We are coming to you this morning from the front nine of what's called the sports deck. Down below us is one of the 3 swimming pools you can find on board. Another one is way up top where we greeted you from yesterday, and the other sits all the way down that side along this deck. It's on this deck that you can, I guess, fulfill your athletic pursuits. You can do a little paddleball, jogging, basketball, handball, whatever have you, maybe some skeet shooting up top. And if you're in the mind for something more restive, you can go inside and catch even a Broadway musical or some shows.
Boy, you won't catch me off this putting green.
Cats may boast of 9 lives, but this ship has had 2. The SS Norway was originally born with a different name and under a different flag. It all began in 1960 when Charles de Gaulle launched a new liner named the France. She was built mainly for transatlantic crossings, but later found that because of rising fuel costs, she couldn't compete with the airlines. The France was finally forced to withdraw from service after only 12 years. She was laid up until the Norwegian Caribbean Lines bought her in 1979 and transformed this transatlantic liner into a cruise ship at a cost of over $100 million. They rechristened her Norway and changed her color from Sirius black to a bright Caribbean blue. I'm standing on the dance floor of Dazzles, which is the ship's discotheque. Believe it or not, this used to be the tourist-class swimming pool on the France. Interior designer Angelo Donghia decided to drain that pool and instead create this underlit dance floor. One of the greatest challenges for refurbishers was creating a one-class ship. This tourist-class dining room had to be upgraded. Today, it's hard to believe it was once only second best. We'll learn a little bit more about the Norway as the week goes along. Time now for a check of the weather. Here's Willard.